Good Monday morning to you. I'm Nikki Stanzione.
And I'm Myles Copeland, in for Kristen Van Dyke.
And this is New Mexico Style. It's good to hear your voice in the morning again, Myles.
Oh, thanks, Nikki. I'm glad that I still have a voice in the morning, though sleeping in is pretty nice, too.
Yeah, right? Well, our viewers may remember, like myself, Myles and Tony's Better Half on the Big I, 107.9. And, you know, I used to listen to you every morning on the way to work. I really do miss that, I have to tell you. And now what you're doing is so fantastic. You are Communications Director at the New Mexico Alzheimer's Association.
Well, and thank you, Nikki, for helping us out at the New Mexico Alzheimer's Association. We had our big gala over the weekend, and Nikki was fantastic. We'll get into that more a little bit later.
Yeah, thanks, Myles. It was an amazing night, and you and Kristen did an amazing job hosting as well. So we'll give you guys a little teaser here, because when you come back after headlines, you'll get a chance to see some video from our amazing evening, which I'm a little nervous. It's better than the karaoke, though, that you and Kristen did last year. Do you remember that?
Oh, well, I always kind of like karaoke, too.
You should see this one on his dancing shoes. What was that song? Was that I Feel Like a Woman? Was that what it was?
Man, I do feel like a woman sometimes. Yeah, often.
Now, I want to mention to viewers also that today is April 16th, which means it is the day before tax day. So it is appropriate that today is entitled National Stress Awareness Day. A lot of people stressed out. I
love having this extra day because it's the only time that I get my taxes done before the day that they're due, right?
Yeah. Well, I did mine, I have to be honest, I was pretty good. I did mine about a month ago because I knew I was getting a refund, and I thought I really could use that money, so it kind of propelled me to work harder and go faster.
If you know that you're getting money back, you always do it early, right?
And then
with me, I'm always kind of worried to do it.
Yeah, well, it's the reverse. You kind of procrastinate when you know you might not be getting the refund. So get on it, and I know that we're actually going to have the post offices in town open a little bit later for tonight for those who are the procrastinators. In fact, let's check in with KRQE News 13 anchor Elizabeth Alvarez, who has this morning's news headlines. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hey, good morning, Nikki. Can't wait to see you hit the dance floor later on in the show.
It was fun.
Good morning, Myles. Good to have
Elizabeth.
you. Hey, isn't it different how on TV you got to get all dressed up, whereas in radio you can put the baseball cap on and just go in
Good point.
I was never a baseball cap guy. I always tried to maintain some level of professionalism, which really makes you a weirdo in radio.
Yeah. No, good to have you. Good morning to you guys, and good morning to you at home. Topping your morning news headlines this Monday morning, a family in Edgewood is without a home this morning. A fire ripped through their house, and firefighters say it could have been a lot worse. It could have actually put the whole neighborhood in danger thanks to the dry weather, the wind, and a propane tank. The fire sparked yesterday afternoon. It got so big that it actually took about 45 firefighters to get it out. Before they got there, a bunch of people in the neighborhood were doing what they could to help stop the flames from spreading.
I tried to put it out, couldn't do it. And neighbor come down the road, he stopped. He ran over, he ran in the house, make sure nobody was in there, and he shut the propane off, shut the electricity off.
Firefighters haven't said exactly what started the fire. The family says it did leave a space heater on through the night. Firefighters on horseback are keeping an eye on another fire, this one burning in the Gila Mountains this morning. The Jordan fire has burned a little more than 400 acres near Copperas Peak and Highway 15. A couple inches of snow fell there yesterday, and that actually helped firefighters get the fire contained. The wife of a man accused of raping several women in New Mexico and in other states is speaking out, and we have her story right here on KRQE. The suspect is known as the Ether Man because police say he used a chemically soaked rag to attack his victims. Now, the wife of Robert Howard Bruce, also known as the Ether Man, will be sitting down with Dr. Phil this afternoon. Bruce is accused of raping a number of women, including at least 10 right here in the state. He was convicted last year of trying to blow up the house of a police officer over in Pueblo, Colorado. He was actually convicted and sentenced to 64 years for that crime. Bruce, however, is still awaiting trial here in New Mexico.
I discovered a mask, gloves, and a knife.
And the list of women's names.
Yes.
It's certainly going to be an interesting interview on Dr. Phil. Bruce, by the way, has been linked to rapes as far back as 1985 in Oklahoma. Police there say DNA has linked him to at least one of their cases, and that Dr. Phil episode will air this afternoon at 3 o'clock right here on Channel 13, KRQE Channel 13. Heads up, Roswell police are trying to track down a fake cop this morning. Detectives say a guy phoned a woman claiming to be a police officer. The fake officer identified himself as Officer Michael Brandon. There is no Michael Brandon, by the way. Investigators say the imposter told the victim she had federal warrants out and that she needed to pay up. And here is the message that detectives say this fake cop left on this woman's voicemail.
This is Officer Michael Brandon from Roswell Police Department. We have received a federal dispute from Federal Claims Court. There is an arrest warrant issued on your name.
Yeah, you don't want to fall for this if it happens to you. The fake cop told the woman she didn't need to go to court, but instead she just needed to pay up. Police say that is not standard procedure. Well, in case you missed it, today is April 16th, and if you haven't filed your taxes, don't worry just yet because the tax deadline fell this weekend this year, and today is actually a holiday in Washington, D.C. It's actually Emancipation Day. You have until midnight tomorrow now to file. That's right, Tuesday, tomorrow, is this year's tax deadline. 2 post offices around Albuquerque will burn the midnight oil to help you out. This includes Albuquerque's main post office, the one downtown off of Broadway, and the Rio Rancho post office on Pine Tree Road. All the other post offices will close at their regular time. And here is some good news for you. It looks like gas prices have finally peaked. Thank goodness. This is because apparently the price of crude oil has slowly been falling now that the tensions with Iran are getting a bit better. Experts think that the price should level off as we head into summer. Thank goodness for that. We haven't seen that yet, though. Nationally, gas is about $3.90 a gallon for regular unleaded. It's a bit cheaper in New Mexico. It's $3.74 in Santa Fe and $3.72 in Albuquerque. Hopefully it stays right there. We all know the Lobos football team has some work to do. Maybe, all right, a lot of work. At least one newspaper says UNM will have the worst team in the country this year. Ouch. The Orlando Sentinel in Central Florida has ranked all of the 120 Division I football teams, and they actually ranked the Lobos dead last. The paper says that's because of last year's 111 record, plus Coach Mike Locksley getting fired. On the brighter side, however, the paper did say the new coach, Bob Davie, might be able to turn things around. We can only hope and cross our fingers. Go Lobos. All right, and that wraps it up for your Monday morning headlines. Be sure to start your day with Matt Morrow, Kristen Van Dyke, and me every weekday morning beginning at 4:30 a.m. on KRQE News 13. All right, guys, I'm going to send it back to you on this Monday morning.
Thanks, Elizabeth. And Myles and I were saying you can only go up from there. You have no, when you're dead last, that's the only positive here is you can only go one direction up.
Really, Bob Davie kind of in the catbird seat with that,
yeah,
right?
I think so.
If you're last, then no place to go but up, like
exactly. So hopefully we will keep our fingers crossed. So we have some good news for Lobo fans this season. We hope. We can only hope. Now, as we mentioned earlier, the New Mexico chapter of the Alzheimer's Association Dancing Stars Gala was Saturday night, and we had a blast. It was a huge success, right?
We had 470 folks out there supporting the Alzheimer's Association. We really appreciate what you, as one of our Dancing Stars, did, Nikki.
Oh, thank you. We're watching a clip right now, I suppose. I guess we're running it already. I was nervous about this. Oh my God.
Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for some sultry. This was hot. I was kind of surprised. I mean, I'm not sure that I knew what I was expecting, but this was very, I don't know whether the word is sensual or sensuous, but certainly,
Thanks, Myles. Well, you know, the thing about our dance, unlike some of the others, which some of the others were a little bit faster, there was a little more shaking going on, ours was a little more technically difficult, I think, and we also created a storyline. I mean, there was a song and a story, and it started out, you know, a certain way, and it ended a certain way, so there was a storyline.
The song was If I Were a Boy,
yes,
right?
By Beyonce.
And so, were you supposed to be kind of dancing with yourself? Is that what this was, Nikki?
No, although I love that song by Billy Idol, by the way. But no, this was actually, the story was basically, you know, the song is just about, you know, if I was the man in my relationship, or if I was a guy, I would treat my woman in a way that I know she'd want to be treated, you know, because I would understand it from that perspective. And so it's a sad thing. So the way we created the story was basically I was thinking about this man that I love, and he just kind of showed up and appeared to me. Oops, I messed up a little bit there. This part was the hardest because I had to keep balance.
Nobody notices but you. It really was pretty fantastic and extremely hot.
Oh, thanks, Myles. That was pretty fun. Well, you know, the good thing I want to mention in addition to the dance itself is that the Alzheimer's Association provides services to 38,000 New Mexicans who suffer from Alzheimer's or dementia, and all the proceeds from the gala will support the association. So, do you know how much money was actually raised?
We wound up netting $48,000. So thanks to you.
Wow.
Thanks, of course, to Chip Hindy, who was Nikki's partner there and runs Enchantment Dancing, and to all of his professionals who generously donated. Thanks to Jessica Gadate, who you can see right here at 9 o'clock on your news.
Yeah.
She was really fantastic.
She was amazing.
Really, none of these people had a dancing background, and every one of them was fantastic. Not that it matters, because even if they're terrible, it's still an entertaining night.
Well, it was amazing. It really was. And you and Kristen co-hosted the whole night, and you really kept things moving. And people, I heard great feedback about that. And, you know, everybody that showed up, it was a sold-out crowd. And keeping in mind that those tickets were not, you know, these were not $25 tickets. We were talking over $100 per person, and it was sold out.
Well, we're very lucky. I mean, I think that unfortunately that speaks to how prevalent Alzheimer's is these days. Once you get to 65, it's 1 in 8 people that have Alzheimer's. So
it's heartbreaking.
It's become a real big epidemic and a real big problem. And while we love to see all those people there, we would much rather put an end to it and have nobody show up for the gala. But thanks again to you, Nikki, and to Enchantment Dancing, and everybody else. Los Alamos National Bank was our title sponsor this year, who made that happen and made it such a big success. It does an awful lot, both for research and for the support that we're able to offer caregivers.
And Hotel Albuquerque, and of course all the people who provided hair and makeup. Ashlyn Padilla was amazing with the makeup, and Tony and Guy did the hair. And thank you guys, because that's what we really needed that help. So thank you. And I want to mention that the direct cost of caring for those with Alzheimer's or dementia will total an estimated $200 billion this year. And so the money that's raised, does that stay here? The money that we raise here?
Well, a portion of it stays here, and a portion of it goes to our national organization, which funds all of the research, which, you know, that's very important work too.
Okay, very important. And another thing that's really important is parenting. And you have kids. You have a little girl.
I got a little 3-year-old Stella.
A little girl. Now, this is something that I know she will appreciate, and you, especially as a parent, will appreciate. The latest safety trend for toddlers is now called the crawling helmet. Have you heard of this? Take a look. The crawling helmet.
I just heard about this, and while I feel like we don't want to wussify our kids too much, that this might be going to an extreme, on the other hand, I do know that my daughter, until she was about 3 years old, was just completely suicidal the way that she acted. She did nothing to help herself out, so there certainly were some situations where she could have used it.
Oh my gosh, well, it seems that some parents are actually concerned about the rate at which the babies are ambling around the living room, and so they're purchasing these crawling helmets for the high-velocity tots. I think that is the funniest thing, what you just said. That is hilarious.
Well, it's totally true, too.
You don't want to wussify that.
I think that her dad could probably use a helmet sometimes, too. Not the most coordinated dude.
Aw, well, either way, we want to keep safety first for the kids, so that's a good thing. And speaking of kids, lots of kids for this duo. At long last, though, the wedding bells are ringing for Brangelina. It's so nice to finally see these two sealing the deal. Angelina Jolie was sporting a massive diamond ring on her left ring finger last week at the Los Angeles County Museum of Art, and the actress hit the private viewing with her beau of 7 years, Mr. Brad Pitt, and the couple has 6 kids together, you know, so it's kind of about time, I think, that they give their kids that. I think it's more for the kids, I think, than it is for them. What do you think?
I think that my life is complete now that these two are finally getting married. Thank goodness. Our national nightmare has ended. You can breathe easy now. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it definitely has changed my perspective on love. Well, the thing is, you know, I was thinking if they did some kind of a self-indulgent, big, huge gala wedding, it would be. I don't think that would be the way to really get our respect, as much so as just getting married, kind of in a more, you know, a little more quiet. You want them to sneak off to the courthouse? Truthfully, no. I want to see the wedding. I want to see the whole thing. But I think for the kids' sake, I think they're doing it for the kids' sake because they've been doing well thus far, unmarried. So who knows? We'll see. Now here's another story. Okay, I have to ask you this because I say yes to the answer to this question. Are you a Gleek? I am aware of Glee. I have tried to watch Glee a few times. I can't claim that I'm a Gleek.
Okay, I can claim embarrassingly I am definitely a Gleek, for sure.
Well, you love your musical theater and everything.
I do, but you might like this, okay? Okay, listen to this. On Tuesday's Glee, Will is going to have to convince the New Directions kids to perform songs from Saturday Night Fever. I don't know about you, that was one of my favorite movies of all time.
John Travolta, don't touch my hair. I've spent a lot of work on my hair. He's very funny in the... Oh,
you're married, yes. You can't do this to me. I'm obsessed with this movie, and that line, it gets me every time. I'm sorry.
Well, he did
I'm sorry, Mrs. Copeland.
On his hair. Yeah.
Well, I love that movie, and I love to see some reenacting. And in the sneak peek, you're going to see Sue telling Mr. Will, the Spanish teacher, that Rachel and friends may not love disco, but they will do it if they have something to fight for. That's the thing about Glee. It's always a good lesson. Oh my gosh, here we go. Look at this, a little mirror ball action. Now, it seems that Sue's suggestion works because Blaine is grooving to You Should Be Dancing, as you can see right here. I know this dance, by the way. I used to teach it when I used to do bar mitzvahs. I'm not kidding.
Really? This is a bar mitzvah dance.
It is, yeah. We used to do the hustle and everything. And you can see Mike and Brittany are tagging along with the former Warbler. This is a big deal to Gleeks, we all know. Look at this. Oh, wow, they are getting down.
I tell you, I do like disco.
Mm-hmm.
You get a lot of people who complain about disco. Listen to disco and try not to tap your feet.
Yeah, I'm telling you, if you can do it without tapping your feet, good luck. And you can even see Miss Blonde cheerleader, of course, Brittany, teaming up with Santana, backing up Mercedes in a performance of one of my other favorites, The Tramp's Disco Inferno. Here we go. Look at this. Burn, baby, burn, burn the mother down. I love that part. Look at this, they even got the floor.
I am believing that you are truly obsessed with Saturday Night Fever.
I truly am, Miles. I truly am. And Saturday Night Glee-Ver is what we're calling it. The next episode will pay tribute to the 70s movie starring, yes, my favorite, John Travolta. And in addition to You Should Be Dancing, you'll also hear songs from the Bee Gees like Staying Alive, How Deep Is Your Love, and more. They will all be featured in Tuesday night's episode, and I will not be missing it.
I haven't seen Travolta lately. You could not only touch his hair, but you could actually take it home with you.
Oh, poor John Travolta. Yeah, that's true. You're probably right about that. Now, arguably, the most famous, not disco movie, but shipwreck in history is once again capturing the world's attention. It was 100, can you believe this, 100 years ago yesterday that the Titanic struck an iceberg and sank to the bottom of the Atlantic. It's a long time ago, huh?
Seems like it was just yesterday, right?
Remember those olden days? Gosh, we've really
For me, the olden days were when that movie came out.
Saturday Night Fever? I'm not going to date myself and respond.
Oh, I was going to go Titanic.
Oh, Titanic. That was 90s, right?
Yeah, I think about 93. I feel like I was definitely in high school because I was outrageously jealous of Leo.
Oh, yes. Well,
all the ladies
you'll be jealous
him.
all over again with the new 3D version. And now we can take a look at what's going on with what happened to Remember 100 years ago. Fox's news correspondent Anna Kuhlman reports.
The 100-year anniversary of the Titanic sinking is being marked by events around the globe. The ship's voyage was supposed to be from England to New York, but even cities without direct links to the Titanic are holding events. Multiple cruise ships have traveled to the disaster site 400 miles off the coast of Newfoundland to hold ceremonies, laying wreaths and having moments of silence. The granddaughter of one of the victims says the ceremony is bringing her closure.
It's almost as though while I was here, he was alive for me, and I can let it go.
In Northern Ireland, where the Titanic was built, a monument was unveiled Sunday at a ceremony attended by local dignitaries, the explorer who found the shipwreck in the northern Atlantic waters in 1985, and relatives of the dead. Venues in Las Vegas, San Diego, Houston, and Singapore are hosting Titanic exhibitions that include artifacts recovered from the site of the wreck. One Ohio woman is paying her respects today. Her late mother-in-law was one of the 700 survivors of the 2,208 passengers and crew. She escaped wearing only a nightgown.
She was put in lifeboat 15, and she said it was full. Many of them were not, but she said the noise as they rode away from that ship was unbelievable, something she would never, never forget.
A new photo released this week taken at the shipwreck site shows a coat and boots in the mud. It has some wondering if human remains could be with the wreckage and raises the question, should the Titanic itself be be raised. Also marking the anniversary, James Cameron's Titanic is back in theaters, this time in 3D. In New York, Anna Koyman, Fox News.
I'd like to see that, although I think the weather's going to be nice enough to want to be outdoors this week. Are you looking forward to better weather?
Pretty windy this weekend.
Yeah, it was rough, but it's going to get better, I hope. John Smith, please tell us I'm right.